Oh man, my bad, yo. I've been having some real technical difficulties though, man. I fixed it, no problems, man. That was, you know, some inconveniences though, but we back, man. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, man. It's technical difficulties, man. I fixed it now. We won't have no more of those issues, man. I fixed the problem. So yeah, man. On today, man, we talking that barbershop talk, man. I need some viewers in here. I need my viewers. Yeah, we have to be back. 2 viewers, 2 likes. Can I get 2 likes? We got to get this up, man. The more likes we get rapidly, the faster it gets on recommended. We get this page up and popping. We almost at 300. Everybody that been subscribing, showing some love, I appreciate it. But we was talking that barbershop talk, man. Who would you rather have, Jason Kidd or Steve Nash? That was that was an intriguing one, man. And I was telling my peoples, man, I went with J Kidd, man. J Kidd. How can you not go with J Kidd, man? J Kidd was a star from the beginning. Second overall pick, unlike Steve Nash. And yeah, not only did Nash break down, but it's we all usually when you do this talk, the first thing you usually say is give me this guy in his prime. Give me this guy in his prime. So a couple of us went, nah, just give me, we talking the whole career playing out. A lot of people, I'm not even gonna lie, a lot of my peoples went with Steve Nash. Some people felt like Steve Nash was better, but reasons why I take Jason Kidd, way better defender, made all defensive team 4 times. He literally changed the New Jersey franchise, literally in one season. Like the difference between the reason why they didn't get to the finals because they had Marbury. They traded Marbury for Jason Kidd. The next year they went to the finals, and then they went to the finals again. They faced the Dynasty Lakers, and then they faced another guy that we're gonna talk about later in the thumbnail, Tim Duncan's team. So, as a player, I do like Jason Kidd as a defender. If you ask me, Jason Kidd had an underrated handle. Like the dude handle was sick, but it went underrated because he wasn't flashy or he didn't have a lot of bodies, the way we say. He didn't snatch a lot of souls. Um in a lot of ways, people hit me with the Mike D'Antoni system. The Nash was in the system. Nash's problems with me, I feel like he didn't shoot enough. Oh, he was 50, 40, 90. Yeah, the dude took 14 shots a game, 12 shots a game. So you're not taking. He was a good shooter. That on top of being a good shooter, he didn't take a lot of shots. If Nash took more than 15 shots a game, it was your eyes were whoa. So I like Jason Kidd just all around, especially on defense. Could push the pace, push the rock. Um, as age went on, he did develop into a good spot up 3-point shooter late in his career, especially in that 2011 run with the Dallas Mavericks. Um, as all around, I went with Jason Kidd. A lot of people went with Steve Nash. A lot of people felt he was a better fit. That if you would have put Steve Nash on that Jersey team, they probably would have won, or they probably could have stayed relevant longer because it was also the Eastern Conference at the time, which was still strong. But like I said, and you can't change my mind on that one. That one is like I don't. Yeah, Nash got the 2 MVPs, but like I've always doubted his MVPs. If you ask me, 2006 was supposed to go to Kobe, and if you say no, you just a hater. If you don't think that 2006 league MVP could have went to Kobe, you're a hater. If you don't think that the other MVP could have gone to Shaq's first year in Miami, you're a hater. So he was good. A couple people got robbed. Like they got robbed. He could have done way better. So, and then other than his career in Phoenix, and that he, they had their issues. I feel personally, man. I just don't. I don't. I don't. I just don't think he was near the player Jason Kidd was. It's just in a way that he changed the game for the moment. It kind we his name can never be disrespected, but like Jason Kidd is second all time in assists. Who's right behind him? Steve Nash. It's just personally, if I've just had to choose, I gotta go with Jason Kidd all the way. I know I'm getting everything, and then everything that a point guard does. So I will go with Jason Kidd. The second one, and then this one was a hard one. This one was a hard one, man. This one, you gotta respect. You gotta respect people's opinion on it because a lot of this is based on system because of Tim Duncan, and then if we're talking about talent, and then if also we're talking about accomplishments and some certain accolades came along the way. So this one was hard, man. Tim Duncan or Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, man. Um, this one, to be honest, I'm kind of still undecided. I kind of want to hear from the people to comment on this one because this one is a lot. Because like if you put Hakeem in the Greg Popovich system, who knows what he could have been. We never really got to see Tim Duncan out of his shell. We got to see Elijah Wan out of his shell when he moved on to Toronto and those other teams, and we saw the decline. Um, but with Houston, Hakeem is also disrespected. That's another thing. Hakeem is also disrespected in the way of he won those two championships when Jordan went to go play baseball. A lot of people feel, if Jordan played, he probably would have just literally dominated the 90s and won those 8 straight championships. So a lot of people tend to disrespect the championships of Hakeem Olajuwon, because he got his when Jordan retired. One thing about Olajuwon, he won the championship as a 6 seed, which means he was playing all of his games on the road, and that's a real accomplishment. Um, he won his league MVP. He won his Defensive Player of the Year. He's up there in the top scorers of all time. He was in the 1984 draft class, and you ain't wrong at the end of the day. You ain't wrong. Like if in 1984 you decided to take Hakeem over Jordan, you weren't wrong because in a way you still paved out some way. What you mean, big bro? Who? What you mean? Who? Like the vid on your way in, bro. We gotta run them likes up. We gotta run them likes up. Who? What you mean? Who? Who? What? What we talking about here? Who? What? Y'all lost me for a second. But yeah. So I'm gonna get back to this. Either way, you weren't wrong in 1984 if you was to pick Jordan or if you were like, now when Sam Bowie got picked, that was different. But in that, a lot like if you Houston and Chicago, a lot of people, well, you picked Elijah and we picked Michael Jordan. You still got a great, we got the greatest. That's the way it's kind of looked at. Um, Tim Duncan, played in the Greg Popovich system his whole career. Yeah, but what we talking about is who would you rather have, Timmy D or the Dream? We was talking about Jason Kidd and um Jason Kidd, or who would you rather have, Jason Kidd or Steve Nash? I got 5 people in the building, man. You got the Dream. You like the Dream over Timmy D? I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. That's something right now, bro. That is just like it's hard to make up my mind, man. The real reason I might just go with Timmy D is, believe it or not, Tim Duncan is in my top 10 of all time. I like Hakeem, but he did have a nasty decline. You know, Tim Duncan never missed the playoffs. So like that things like Hakeem winning it has a 6 seed, but then Tim Duncan never missing the playoffs. It's things like that that you look at. So um Tim Duncan, in his run went to, 6 finals. He's 5 for 6. If it wasn't for the Ray Allen, we'll be who knows what we'll be talking about Tim Duncan. He's already arguably one of the most underrated players of all time. True, but so you don't think Tim Duncan could have played outside of San Antonio? Because remember, we saw Hakeem at least play outside of San Antonio. Do you think he could have played outside San Antonio? I want y'all to hit that comment, man. Y'all gotta let me know what's up, man. This one. So so if Timmy, so you at no point like are you like deliberately choosing him over like no debating like me? To be honest, this is hard. KG better than Tim. KG is one of my favorites, man. Of course, I'm gonna put him up there, but we gotta stop disrespecting Tim. I know it was the system, and I know it was all of that, but so Tim is not in your top five power forward. So if you saying KG better than Tim, I'm pretty sure you'll pick Malone over Tim. Is what you're saying? If you picking KG over Tim, you picking Malone over Tim. Is what it sounds like, right? So damn. So I'm not even putting it in an order for you. So from what it sounds like, you got the Dream, you got KG, and you got Malone. So damn, you got Tim Duncan like fourth or fifth? Me, if you ask me, man, this is a system thing. If Hakeem would have played, Hakeem was more elusive. His game was more elusive. He was more shifty. So I feel like he would. Man, you could count him as a power forward, man. The same thing as Tim Duncan, man. He was in a power forward either, but it is what it is. The way I believe, man, Hakeem and Elijah Wan system would have been something different to watch. Him that footwork and then kicking it out to some shooters. Like imagine just swapping. Like don't because clearly probably drafts would have went different. They probably would have win or lost more game. But we're just swapping players. So you would have had Hakeem, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, you had Robert Ory, Bruce Bowen. You would have all these guys that he played with Kawhi. He would have played with all these guys. It does favor Kareem because Kareem individually was just a different play. He revolutionized that position with that at the time he had what they said like guard footwork. He had guard footwork for a big man, which at that time was different, which big guys couldn't even get across the lane like that. Yet to just have that type of movement in the low block in a time where it was just jump hooks. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Hakeem just with the fact, yeah, he could shoot. Um, this is where I give it to Hakeem. Defense, and why I always bring up defense because hey, what kind of defender are you? Are you a rim defender? Are you a post defender? My thing is his defense was all around. He could protect the rim. He could go switch out on the guard at the top of the key. He could defend the block. On top he was a good runner in transition, which at that time, other than Shaq, Hakeem, big man didn't really run on the break. So he was like I said, he was elusive. He was up and down. He was very agile. So I think I'm gonna have to roll with Hakeem. Tim Duncan do got the accomplishments. He got the championships. 5 people, 5 likes in the building. That's why I like to just jump up on the lives. If you tuning in, who would you rather have? Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Hakeem, or Timmy D? What Tim got? Got the 2 league MVPs. He's 5 for 6 in finals. Got finals MVP. What is he like? Seven, if I'm not mistaken, 7, 8 time all 7, 8 time all defensive. Also first team 7 about 8 times. So, um, Timmy D has a resume. I'm not saying he doesn't have a resume. People disrespect him because he's boring to watch. Because like I say, he's fundamental. He plays like when you I'm looking for a book. when you think of Tim Duncan, you usually will be I know records, man, but it's his impact on the game. You get what I'm saying? He the teammate, the teamwork of basketball. You gotta understand, he sacrificed a lot. A lot of people think he didn't have to sacrifice. What if Tim Duncan really was in the era where remember Tim Duncan was in a 1-star era, maybe 1.5 to 2 player era. So imagine Tim Duncan had a coach that was back to the basket, give him 28 to touches a night, back to the basket. Tim Duncan's career high, if I'm not mistaken, I think is like 46. And I'm not gonna lie, it's like around 44, 46. I mean, I get it. You going by those accolades, and it is true. But he's well accomplished though. We can't just shit on Timmy D like he was just some scrub there that enjoyed some hardware shining on the bench, or he was overrated more. Like the guy was a different talent, man. The guy, he was made for this, man. Um, I don't know, man. That's like so you. Whew, that's a different poll right there, man. All right, so now that we here, man, the most underrated players of all time. Like, though, I want y'all to comment the most underrated players of all time. Y'all gotta comment. This Everybody got that player, feels like you're supposed to be there. The most underrated player of all time. You comment a few too, man. Most underrated player of all time. Ross Strickland was a problem. Montana scrambled with the rock like Ross Strickland. Ross Strickland, man, was a problem, man. Yes, Ross Strickland indeed. You be watching me, twin. You need to stop watching me. I had him like, you know what I'm saying, too. Nobody really thinks of it, to be honest, but I'm always keep on saying it. It's always gonna be Scottie Pippen. It was always going to be between Scottie Pippen, Jalen Rose, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace. Um, I liked his game when he was in Phoenix. Kevin Johnson, he played with Charles Barkley. Um, I'm trying to name at least 10 off the top of my head. Marcus Camby, I felt he was always underrated. Um, Marbury, yeah, but he was a hothead, man. It was more of this than like he didn't have any issues. It was mostly this, man. Um, I gotta, I'm thinking, man, underrated. Only guard to average 20. Yeah, 20. he, like I said, he had his shine at the peak of his career. He was true, but I also remember him not really making any playoff runs, not getting busy in the playoffs. I remember him swap out for Jason Kidd. Phoenix got worse, and the Nets went to the finals the very next year. Like earlier, that's what we was talking about. So that's why it's like I'm gonna look at everything. Yeah, I look at a lot of things. Like I think about it. Like think about it. Yeah, Steve Francis. That was who I was thinking about. Steve Francis and damn, what's dude name? What was this other dude name, yo? What was this other dude name? Karan Butler's good, man. But Karan Butler was just a late bloomer that teams didn't have patience with him. Remember, he was on the Lakers, then he was in Washington. Like I feel like teams didn't have patience, and then the year he was hurt with Dallas, he was a potential. He was gonna be an All Star that year. That year that he was with the Dallas Mavericks and they beat the Heat. So I feel like things just a couple things. If a couple more things would have went his way, he will be talking about Karan Butler different. So I had another one, man. I had another one. Nick Vanna, yeah, older. Yeah. Damn, I keep forgetting his son name, man. I keep forgetting his son name, dog. There you go. I got him. I don't know why. Sam Cassell. I don't know why it took me so long. Sam Cassell, very underrated in my eyes, man. People slept on Sam Cassell. People slept on Kenny Smith. Um, damn, what was dude name? What was other dude name? Smits. Smits. Man, that dude, man, he wasn't physical. He was a lot of mind, man. If a lot of y'all didn't watch him, man, he was one of the guys. He was a lot of read. He had a good game plan against Shaq. He was one of the first guys to bring in the big man out the paint, and he was just for show because he wouldn't even shoot. He would just bring the big man out the paint. At that, the style he was playing ahead of his time as a big man decoy. If he could play in this era now where they try to use the big man to stretch the floor, so he was very underrated. Andre Miller was a fucking bum. I don't even think he averaged double. I don't ever think he averaged double digits in his career. He was a fucking bum. Um, Underrated players. Kenyon Martin. He was underrated. The man. He was the man. Underrated. Guy played with a lot of heart, intensity. Draymond Green before Draymond Green. Um, man, fuck him. So a lot of Corey Brewer dropped 50 something. A lot of that man. Sometimes, bro, the rim is as big as the ocean. One day you ain't never gonna miss. That's what it is. We got a couple more underrated players, man. Like we got a couple. We got a couple, man. I don't know if I mentioned him. Marcus Camby. Marcus Camby, very good. Spreewell, Chris Mullin. I feel like these guys were underrated. Rashard Lewis. Rashard Lewis, man. You got it. Yeah, you got it with that one. Rashard Lewis. If y'all don't know, man, Rashard Lewis was a sniper, man. Rashard Lewis, weird looking jump shot, but when he was in Seattle with Ray and his little stint in Orlando, he could light it up. He could light it up. He definitely could light it up. I like that. Rashard Lewis. Mike Bibby. Nah, he wasn't underrated, man. Mike Bibby was a star, man. He just had his stardom wasn't as long, but I feel he was a star, and I feel like he never really got degraded. Rudy Gay. I could just say he was never portrayed to be a star. Like I feel like he never had a high ceiling. Like I personally never saw Rudy Gay or thought about. Yeah, he's all right. I feel like he was underrated just due to the fact because of number wise. You know how now that players make the All Star team because of fame, but like he brung up the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, I know that not making an All-Star does make you underrated, but I get what you're saying there. But I feel like he wasn't underrated. I just felt like maybe in that aspect of not making an All-Star team, yeah. But when we talk about Mike Bibby, I never really hear nothing bad about him. Like you always hear, man, the dude was a good teammate. The dude got busy everywhere he went. Josh Howard from the Mavs. Remember, he had issues though, because he was on his way to being a 20-5 guy. I don't know what did he do again? He did some dumb shit. I forgot what he did. He did some dumb shit. It was like 8, 9 years ago, maybe even longer than that, if I'm not mistaken. He did some real dumb shit. I got 5 people here, man. To all my supporters, man, I just want to say thank you for the channel. We at 235 subscribers. We growing, man. Like, subscribe if you in here. Like this video. Let's get these videos out there. I want to see my videos on some more recommended lists. Yeah. Stay off the weed. I'm thinking of a couple more. Um, you don't think Eddie Jones was underrated? Eddie Jones, dude that played for LA and Miami. He was nasty. I ain't gonna lie. I forgot who put me on to him back in the day. He was nasty. Glenn Rice. Glenn Rice. You know what it is with Glenn Rice? I feel like he sacrificed a lot low key because the teams he was on, being a role player, he could have easily been a second star on any team. So yeah, Glenn Rice is up there too. Ron Harper was injury, bro. We already know. For the niggas that don't know, Ron Harper was on his way. For the young bloods out there, you know what I'm saying, that just stopped drinking Similac the other day. Ron Harper was the fucking man. Look up his tapes in Cleveland. Look up his little tapes with the Clippers. The dude was the man. Unfortunately, at that time, the injury was real bad, and he dropped down to like a fourth player rotation. And the dude just switched his style to being a two-way lockdown defender. He was still a good player, but his ceiling was definitely cut short due to an injury at the time. So Ron Harper, I feel like injuries, like that's like saying Bernard King. Bernard King, scoring machine. The dude was a scoring machine. If you don't know Bernard King, the way I know y'all probably hear this phrase. Y'all be like, he's the poor man's. He's the richer Carmelo Anthony. What do I mean by richer? He was a scorer, but he would love to facilitate. He wouldn't mind getting other guys involved. He wouldn't mind, playing team ball. But the team wanted him. The team that at that time the Knicks were willing to give him the team. But he had a mentality of a team. John Starks. John Starks, man, has a New Yorker, man. Good dude. I love the energy he brung. He was a rich man, J.R. Smith. Inconsistent shooter, could give you something. He got the explosive plays. He got the memorable dunk. Um, I'm not also gonna forget a guy that his career field goal percentage is almost at 30%. So we can't carry Kittles. Carry Kittles. Oh, you got me. You on fire right now, twin. You on fire right now. You on fire right now. You on fire. You got me right now. Shane Battier. I think Shane Battier was underrated. Of course, Mike Conley's underrated. Keith Van Horn. I remember my son Kobe dunking it on him one time with the nasty face. One time. Mounsey Wells. I got some people on here. If you on this, man, I want y'all to comment. What's going on? Is this about helmets? Nah. But you can like the vid, get some likes on my video, man. Antoine Walker. The dude that blew all that chicken dinner. He would. Can you like the video, man? It's alright. And Antoine Walker, man. That I fuck with him. Don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like he was underrated. Like underrated, I feel what I look at underrated is like maybe you were in the wrong era or your position was way overcrowded that you didn't get a lot of recognition, or maybe you sacrificed within a system like Robert Ory. Like people, oh Robert Ory, da da da. He never, but when he won those two titles in Houston, Robert Ory was averaging 15. That ain't no scrub off there. He was giving niggas 15. He was the clutch master. I don't feel like he was underrated. He's just hated. He's not underrated. He's just if you he's stuck to his role. I'm not gonna sit here and walk down the court tongue out. I'm not MJ. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna play some ball. I know what my job is. Damon Stoudemire, yeah, him. Damon Stoudemire was good, man. He was good. He was good, man. I liked him in Portland, man. He was busy. You know, Brad Miller, Mike Miller. It was a lot of underrated guys, but like I said, everybody has a trials tribulations through their career. Some people sacrifice through the system. Muggsy Bogues wasn't underrated, man. He's just a legend. Where he's already a legend, man. He ain't underrated, man. We already know if he would have been at least 6'1", it would have been lit. So I will never feel like he was underrated because he was never going to get over his height. So I'm thinking of some more, man. Because I use a lot. Like I said, a lot of people. I think about their projected ceiling when they came in. So Juwan Howard, or you mean Juwan or Juan Howard? Juan, Juan Howard. Fat Five, Juwan Howard. The Fat Five, Juwan Howard. Josh Smith. Ooh. Joe Johnson. Even though he has certain accolades that he has accomplished. Um, Juwan. What? You got a couple, man. Baron Davis. B. Diddy. He's one of my favorites. I never really felt he was underrated. The league, he wasn't enough to get them over the hump, I feel. Like we saw his ceiling. He was a perennial all-star that he needed somebody else to play with. Baron Davis would have ever got linked up. Steven Jackson, he's very underrated. Steven Jackson. Um, yeah, Steven Jackson's a good one. You on the road today, Twin? You on the road today? I had my top 10. I mentioned my top 10. I wasn't going that deep. You got like 40 in here. But a couple of these plays, they ceiling wasn't that big, or some of them had to sacrifice. Oh, not yeah. I think of the most important or who made the most sacrifices, man. Like I always think of a Scottie Pippen, man. People like that, people that just get dissed on the daily, man. And happy birthday to Scottie Pippen. Today's Scottie Pippen's birthday, man. Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp wasn't underrated, bro. The dude was just athletic, bro. I personally wasn't a really big fan of Sean Kemp. You could take dude out of his game. Dude was just athletic. It was just what that. It's just big guy. Well, he was a small forward, kind of could slide over to the four. Chris Webber wasn't underrated because if you Chris Webber was a winner everywhere he went. He went. Washington wasn't making the playoffs. Chris Webber gets there, they start making the playoffs. Um, the Kings wasn't making the playoffs. He goes to the Kings. They start competing for a championship. So I never found Chris Webber to be underrated. He was another player that reached the ceiling. We already saw ceiling. You're a 3.5 to 4 star player. We got to get you some more players around you. Thunder Van Martin. Ooh. Okay. This guy's good. This guy's good. This guy's good. This guy's good. This guy's very good. Trying to share this one. Trying to share this live one time. White chocolate, my dude. White chocolate. That was my guy right there. Was he under? See, he's the definition of underrated because at that time the guards started to rise, and I'm gonna get straight to the point, even though it really has nothing a lot to do with it. But us from the hood, we look at it. He was disrespected a lot. Let's be real. White guy, has a lot of tattoos, had the street ball style, and a lot of people weren't hit with that shit. So I felt like he was more of a see it to believe it kind of guy. When they saw that this guy had some swag in his game, he took off. So he was underrated in a way. Corey Maggette, Carlos Boozer, Andre Karolinko, you know, in his prime days with Phoenix, Leandro Barbosa, Bruce Bowen. It's a lot of guys, man. It's a lot of guys, man, that sacrifice. And every guy I'm naming, Ben Gordon. Ben Gordon, Ben Gordon. I don't know if y'all remember that series, man, against the Boston Celtics, man. Nigga lit shit the fuck up. He lit he he really lit shit the fuck up in that series. And this was a funny thing I was reading about Ben Gordon. He says he doesn't shower during the games. Players shower for halftime, refresh themselves. He says he likes to stay sweaty for the momentum of the game. You get what I'm saying? So that's some shit. That's some shit. Like if you watch that series, bro, Son looked like he had all the momentum. Like I don't think he showered that whole series. You need some picks, Chris picks. You need some picks. You gotta donate. You gotta donate to the cause. These picks ain't free. You know what I'm saying? These picks ain't free out here. Yeah. Franco, what's going on, bro? Like the vid, man. You gotta like this vid and get it up out of here, man. I need likes on the video. Let's get this on recommended.